If someone was to come and take all of these shoes tomorrow and only leave me with 3 pairs, what 3 pairs would I keep? Okay, so a question I get asked all the time, like people just want to see my things for just like watch collection, fragrance collections. They want to see the closet. You know, I've shown the closet on the channel before. A shoe collection is something I didn't think that would be asked for as often as I'm asked for it. Now, I do have a lot of shoes and I get why people would ask for it, because I wear a different pair of shoes pretty much in every video. It's rare I'll wear the same shoes kind of back to back. So it appears that I have a lot of shoes. And now that I laid them all out here for the video, I do in fact have a lot of shoes. I think similar to the watch video where I broke them down via brand, what I'll do is I'll break these down via style. So I'll go like all the boots, then all the loafers, then the kind of lace up dress shoes or whatever. Then what I'll do is I'll break it down as if I could only have 3 pairs. No matter what, if I had to throw all these in the garbage tomorrow, or if someone was to come and take all of these away and I was only allowed to keep 3 of them, what 3 would I keep? So for the ease of their location, we'll start off with the boots. So the first pair of boots we have are just a classic chocolate brown suede Chelsea boot. Yes, you will notice this across the range, shoe trees and or boot trees. I'll get this out of the way nice and early. You should be using these in all your shoes. I don't care whether they're trainers, whether they're loafers, whether they're dress shoes, whether they're boots. The brand of the shoe tree is completely irrelevant. Just make sure they're made out of cedar wood. Not only do they smell good, cedar wood has natural antioxidants, antibacterial properties, so it will absorb moisture, it'll keep the shoe smelling fresh, it'll keep the shoe fresh, clean from the inside. So you look after the outside, the shoe tree will look after the inside. It also helps keep the shoe or boot in shape when you're not wearing it. Particularly if you have Chelsea boots, you'll tend to get this little bit kind of sags in, you get that kind of clown shoe kind of look. A shoe tree or a boot tree prevents that. Classic chocolate brown suede Chelsea boot. If you follow me on Instagram and you watch the Let's Get Dressed videos, you'll have seen these boots a million times over. I wear them all the time. I've had them for a couple of years now and they never ever skip a beat. They're brilliant. They're from Doon, London. The next pair of boots are pretty much identical. They're also from Doon, London. They're also a brown Chelsea boot. They're literally the exact same style of boot. The only difference is these are in like a calf leather as opposed to suede. Where's your shoes? Next up we have a classic pair of Doc Martens. These are in, bless you. These are in a kind of weathered, distressed kind of brown. I have worn these a lot. Generally, if I have to do anything that's a bit kind of rough and ready, if I'm in any way scared that I'm going to destroy my shoes, these are generally the boots that I wear because they already have that distressed look. So adding to that doesn't really do anything. On the topic of Doc Martens, these are actually a recent pickup. So again, if you follow me on Instagram or TikTok, you would have seen recently I'm doing a creators series where I try recreate or get inspired by outfits by other creators. I was asked to do Devon on deck and I picked an outfit that required a black boot and I needed a new black boot anyways. So I went for these Doc Martens. Now if you notice, the difference between these and the other ones is there is no yellow stitching. The iconic yellow stitching is gone and the black tab at the back is also blacked out because these are the monos. Mono meaning one color. The entire boot is completely blacked out and I think it just looks super clean, super slick. These are also a fairly new boot, so they are requiring a little bit of a breaking in period, which is not the most pleasant, but nonetheless they are a great boot. I'll have them for a lifetime. So that's Doc Martens. So the last of our boots are a chocolate brown lace up They've got a cap toe. It's not an actual like steel toe, but it's a cap toe with a little bit of detailing in there. Just a really, really nice, kind of a hybrid between, like, it's not quite a work boot and it's not like super dressy. You could get away with wearing it with a suit because of the silhouette and the styling of the toe, but also works perfect with jeans, chinos, all that sort of thing. Just a really nice boot if you want to dress up a casual outfit or dress down a really smart outfit. A boot like this is perfect. These are from Wildsmith. I will also leave a link to boot trees and shoe trees in the description of the video. I just buy them on Amazon. I'll leave a link below. They're not super expensive. The shoe trees I generally buy in a 2-pack. The boot trees I just buy kind of one at a time. Now onto loafers, and the boots that we saw were from Wildsmith, so it's an easy segue to go to brown Tassel loafer, also from Wildsmith. So yeah, really, really beautiful, nice kind of welted sole, nice little pipe detail around the toe there, and then yeah, the tassels. Just a really nice classic tassel loafer. With the theme of tassel loafers, the next one we have are these oxblood tassel loafers. These are from Russell and Bromley. They've got a slightly different silhouette in the toe, almost more of a classic moccasin, like Barker shoe style, but in that oxblood. Really, really beautiful, and then it makes it really easy to style. You can wear this with pretty much any color suit that you want. It being a patent leather, it's not the easiest to dress down, but with the way classic menswear trends are going now, with a lot more denim, baseball caps and everything else like that being integrated into tailoring, that's where a shoe like this works absolutely perfect. So an oxblood tassel loafer from Russell and Bromley. If you are following Instagram and TikTok, you've known how long I have these oxblood tassel loafers, and look at them, they're absolutely perfect. So next up I have 3 of the cheapest shoes that I own. One's a tassel loafer, and then we'll go into like a Belgian style, and then a opera pump. So these are probably less versatile and almost worn exclusively with black tie, if that makes sense, minus the Belgians. They're a little bit more kind of casual, but these black patent leather tassel loafers, I originally got these as almost like a little substitute for wearing with black tie because they were patent leather, and I always prefer wearing a loafer versus a lace-up shoe with a tuxedo. I just think it looks way classier. This technically isn't appropriate for black tie, but in today's society most people don't even know what is, so you get away with it. These are the shoes that I now exclusively wear with my tuxedo, and that is a black opera pump. So if you see any of the iconic images of like Frank Sinatra or any of those boys in their tuxedos in Vegas when they're doing their residencies or anything, generally they're always wearing a black opera pump. Now these come in a few different variations. You can get full suede, you can get full patent leather. I prefer the two-tone, so the patent leather kind of just goes all the way around the outside, and then this kind of toe section and the bow is in suede. Now on to the last of the 3 Amazon cheap as chips shoes. We have a Belgian style loafer. So notice I didn't call them a Belgian loafer because Belgian loafers are an actual brand in themselves. They're kind of famous for this little bow detail and then this like piping. So these are a Belgian style because they're styled after the Belgians, but nonetheless, these for less than $50, I think they were. These are honestly so comfortable. It's like wearing slippers that have like somewhat of a hard sole, so you can actually just wear them out and about. Like, I've worn these to events. I wore them to an event in New York. They're comfortable enough to just like slip on, wear around the house, just run to get the mail, put out the garbage, whatever it is. For the price, these things are honestly amazing. So the next shoe I'll show you, I actually have a pair of boots, 2 pairs of boots. I have 1 or 2 pairs of boots from the same brand, but they're currently in the garage in deep storage. These are from Rancourt & Co. So what makes these a little bit special is they're made in America. They're made in Maine and they are absolutely beautiful. These run a little bit big for me, so generally I'll wear them with like a thicker sock. Just a really nice casual penny loafer. So what makes these a little bit more casual than others would be the shape of the toe being a little bit more of that moccasin kind of shape, and then also the two-tone on the stitching kind of really dresses the shoe down considerably in comparison to the next pair of penny loafers, which are these black penny loafers from Midderquist. So these would be much more of a dressy, more formal penny loafer. As formal as loafers can be. Loafers are technically a casual shoe, but we live in a society that is ultra casual anyways, where wearing a suit in any sort of variation is deemed formal. And because a loafer is a leather shoe, by today's standards, it's formal, but it's actually not. So loafers are a really great way to kind of reduce the formality of a formal outfit. Or if you're wearing something like a pinstripe suit or a three-piece with a shirt and tie and it's as formal as it can get, something like a loafer just dresses that down ever so slightly and just makes it a little bit more relaxed, a little bit more approachable, a little easier to wear. So onto the last of our penny loafers. We have our two spectator style penny loafers. So spectator styles is when they will be two-tone. So these ones are a light tan and white. These are from ASOS. Not very expensive. I think they were like $60, something like that. So not very expensive. And then the next ones are black and cream. And these are from Walk London. So I think these were about less than $150, but yeah, really nice. Again, if you follow me on Instagram and TikTok, you'd have seen these a lot. You'd have seen them over the last couple of years, so you'll know how long I actually have them. And you'll notice in these ones are the only ones with a coin in the little slit. The coin itself has a little W on it, you know, obviously for the branding for Walk London, but what that represents is why it's called a penny loafer. So way back in the day, men would put 2 pennies in either shoe, in either little slot here. They'd stick 2 pennies in those, and the reason for that would be if they were ever stuck in an emergency and they needed just enough money to make a call on a payphone, they would have 2 pennies in the loafers. Now, we don't need pennies in loafers anymore because, one, it can look a little bit naff on a normal day today. If you're wearing like a really nice suit and you're wearing a penny loafer and you've got shiny pennies in the loafers, it's going to look like you're trying a little hard. When something like these that are two-tone, they're already a bit try hard. You're leaning into that kind of expression of self-style, so you can get away with that. But on something like the Midderquist ones that I showed you, I probably wouldn't be sticking pennies in those, especially wearing them with like a 3-piece or a double-breasted suit. You know, if you're fully suited and booted, it's just gonna look a bit prickish. And we also don't have payphones anymore, so it's also useless. I heard me mention moccasin style or mock toe style quite a bit in this when it comes to talking about the shape of loafers. So our next shoes are indeed a pair of moccasins. Now, what separates these from a boat shoe is the color of the sole. Boat shoes will always have a white sole or a gum sole, and that's so they don't mark the deck of the boat. If it's not got a white sole, it's not a boat shoe. These are a moccasin. It's got a mock toe, it's got a laced fastening on the front. If you pull them tight, it doesn't really tighten the shoe. It's not how the shoe fastens. It's not a lace up, it is a loafer. So like every other loafer, how it stays on your foot is compression. Moccasins. These are from Eastland. I technically have 2 pairs of loafers left to show you, but both of those are bespoke, so I'll leave them to last. So we'll move on to our dress shoes or lace up shoes. So these, other than a patent leather shoe that is exclusive for black and white tie, a black Oxford will be the most formal shoe that you can wear on a day-to-day basis. If you're something like a lawyer or anything like that where you generally have to be in a formal attire on a day-to-day basis, if you're the CEO of a company or whatever else like that, I don't know what company you might be the CEO of, you might wear sweatpants and a hoodie because you can, because you own the fucking company, so you can do what you want. But an Oxford shoe will be the most formal shoe that you can buy. These are from Loke shoemakers. They are a Goodyear welted sole. As you can see, I've worn them considerably. These do need a little bit of breaking in, but once you break them in, they're absolutely fine. The next pair of shoes we have are a brown derby. So yes, you can get brown Oxfords, yes, you can get black derbies, but the reason I have a black Oxford and a brown derby is because a derby is more casual than an Oxford. Now, what's the difference between a derby and an Oxford? Well, the lacing system. So you'll notice this is a closed lacing system. So the upper and the vamp, it's all closed with this stitching that goes around, versus a derby has an open lacing system. So I can get my finger in there because it's an open lacing system. So if it's an open lacing system, it's a derby. If it's a closed system, it's an Oxford. These are from Nordstrom. So the last of our laced up shoes, we actually have a vintage pair of shoes, which I think technically makes these the cheapest pair of shoes that I own, because they were only $40. And I know what you're thinking, the second I said Oxford, you immediately said in your head, Oxford's not brogues, because you've seen the Kingsman movie. Now the only thing that kind of irks me about that quote is brogues are not a type of shoe, it's something done to shoes. So you can have broguing on boots, you can have broguing on Oxfords, you can have broguing on derby. Broguing is this little detailing on the front of the toe, and you'll notice the lacing system, these are Oxfords. So like he says in Kingsman, he says Oxfords, not brogues. Well, you can have Oxfords that are also brogues. What he actually means by that quote is, if these were black, if this was a black Oxford with broguing, they would be slightly less formal than a black Oxford with no broguing. So despite these both being Oxfords, this one is more casual, one because it's brown, and two because of the broguing detail. It reduces the formality of the shoe. These are, it says they're made in Italy. Domani is the brand name on the inside of them. I got them in House of Vintage in Portland for $40. So speaking of casual shoes, we'll just jump into the couple of pairs of trainers that I have. Again, if you're following on with Instagram and TikTok, you'll notice how little I actually wear trainers. So these ones are just a Reebok classic. I don't know what model they are. They're just a classic white tennis shoe. Just goes with everything. Super easy to style and never misses a beat. The next trainer we have are a pair of Vans. These are the Eras. You'll notice these are pretty clean on top, like pretty grubby around the edges. I don't really wear these all that often. Sometimes to the gym if I want a completely flat shoe in the gym for lifting, but for the most part don't really wear them that often. The shoes that I wear in the gym the most will be these. These are an Adidas, I don't know what model they are, but they're just an all black Adidas trainer. They're just semi-decent on a treadmill, and yeah, that's just what I wear to the gym. And then before the last of the shoes that I'll show you before we get into our two bespoke pair of shoes, the Boston by Birkenstock. Yes, they are super ugly, but they're also super comfortable. Onto the bespoke shoes. These were my first ever pair of bespoke shoes. These are from Arthur Sleep. So Arthur Sleep were pretty much the first shoe manufacturer to open up on Savile Row in like 100 and something years. They've now moved off of Savile Row, but I was lucky enough to get measured and had these made on Savile Row before they moved. These are a green velvet slipper with my monogram embroidered on the toe there. On the inside, don't know if you can see that, there's like a red quilted lining in there. And when I say these are possibly the most comfortable things I've ever put my feet into, it is no exaggeration. Not only because they are perfectly molded to my exact foot shape, but also just the construction and the materials they're made out of being handmade on Savile Row. They're a special piece. And also Jay and Chris, who own the brand, are close friends of mine. We've become very close friends, especially when I lived in London. I used to just pop down to their store, sit in there, just have a coffee and just chat shit, go to the Devonshire, have a couple pints of Guinness. Pretty sure Chris still goes to the Devonshire and tells Oisin that I'm his cousin, so he gets preferential treatment, but he deserves it because he's a nice guy. On to the last pair of shoes in the collection. Well, the last pair of shoes in the collection that I currently have here that aren't back in Ireland or aren't in the garage. And that is these. A Bespoke Tassel loafer with French fringe from Stefano Brammer. So you can really see the sole on these. This is a completely handmade shoe from top to bottom, handmade in Florence. The color is called museum green. So most people that get Bespoke shoes made, their first pair is probably not going to be a velvet green slipper, and their second pair is probably not going to be a museum green tassel loafer with French fringe, because they're a little bit out there and they're not super versatile. They probably would have went with a black Oxford or a brown derby or a brown Oxford or a black penny loafer, something that's a little bit more wearable on an everyday basis. But I really loved the process of getting something really unique and somewhat outside of the box, and green is my favorite color. The museum green is a little different because, as you can see, the front here, like when it's got a polish from a distance, it just looks like a black shoe. You only really see the green up close or in certain light. That is the Bespoke shoes from Stefano Brammer, the Bespoke shoes from Arthur Sleeps, the couple of pairs of trainers, the boots, the tassel loafers, the Oxfords, the everything in between. So now on to the question, the burning question. If I could only have three out of all of these shoes, if I could only have 3 pairs, what would they be? And that's ignoring nostalgia based things like Bespoke shoes that are made by my friends, or, you know, just picking these shoes because they're the most expensive or the most high quality shoes that I own. On a pure versatility standpoint, if someone was to come and take all of these shoes tomorrow and only leave me with 3 pairs, what 3 pairs would I keep? The first pair I would keep would be a black penny loafer. Watching this from the standpoint of trying to build your wardrobe, and you are thinking, okay, these are the 3 shoes that I'm gonna buy first. Don't care the brand, whatever it is, just make sure they're a high quality pair of shoes, because for years I cheaped out on shoes, and if you buy cheap, you buy twice. So I'm not saying go out and spend $2,000 on shoes, but just try buy quality. The first shoe that I would buy, or in my collection that I would keep, would be a black penny loafer. As mentioned earlier, the reason for that being is I can wear these with a pinstripe 3-piece, I can wear them with a classic navy suit, I can wear them with jeans, I can wear them with chinos, I can wear these with pretty much anything. They're not going to skip a beat, they're not going to look out of place. Perfect. This shoe will get you through 90%, 95% of formal occasions and can still be dressed down for casual occasions. If you are just wearing jeans and a polo t-shirt and you're invited to a dinner or an event last minute, whack on a sports coat and a black penny loafer and you're good to go. So the next shoe in my must-have 3 would be the brown suede Chelsea boot. Again, very similar reason. It's very wearable with pretty much any suit that you have on a day-to-day, particularly if you're like separating your suits. If you're wearing the navy jacket with grey flannel trousers, this boot's a go-to. If you're wearing a sports coat and jeans, this boot is a go-to. If you're wearing chinos and want something that's a little bit more dressy and a little smarter than a trainer, this boot is the go-to. The third shoe in my must-haves, if I could only pick 3, what would it be? This one's very difficult because part of me thinks the brown derbies, part of me thinks the brown Oxfords, because again they have a very similar kind of versatility to the other 2 pairs of shoes, where they can be worn with a lot of suits and they can dress a suit down, but they're not as versatile with wearing with casual outfits as the black loafers or the brown suede boots are. So they're a little bit more on the more formal side in terms of dressing suits down. It would probably not be these exact ones, but there would be this exact style, and that would be the black Belgian style loafers. And the reason for this is the exact same thing. Casual enough to wear with jeans, chinos, shorts, anything you want, you can get away with wearing this shoe. The shoe is also smart enough to wear with chinos, a suit, if you're wearing a suit as separates, if you're wearing grey trousers and a navy jacket, if you're wearing a brown sports coat and a separate pair of trousers or anything like that. Again, these shoes are versatile enough. That is my entire shoe collection to a degree. It's what I actually have here in America with me. More back in Dublin of things like my Cuban heels and stuff that a lot of people, if you follow me on Instagram, you would have seen those Cuban heels for the last 5+ years, but I don't have them here in America with me. I have a pair of Red Wing mock toe boots also back in Ireland, of New Balance trainers and some other trainers back in Ireland. But what I have right now in America, now you've got it, you've seen it all. We've been there, we've done that, we've wore the shoes. So hope you liked this video, hope you found it informative. Remember to polish your shoes, learn how to polish your shoes. Maybe I'll do a whole separate video on that another time. And buy bloody shoe trees. They're not very expensive and they will honestly protect and make sure your shoes are staying fresh and clean and in shape all of the time. If you're going to spend your hard-earned money on shoes, make sure you're looking after them. And the other side to that is a shoe horn. If you follow me on Instagram and TikTok, you'll know that I'm essentially known for the shoe horn now. I'll leave the link to the shoe horn in the description. Get yourself shoe trees, get yourself a shoe horn, and that's it. One foot in front of the other and take on the world.